Hi guys, super raw, rough intro for this awesome collab video. My footage got messed up when I had my makeup on yesterday, so here it is. So we got together with a gorgeous group of ladies here on YouTube to do a little summer barbecue recipe collab, so you guys can have a lot of recipe ideas for all these events that you're going to be going to, especially with the 4th coming up. Just some delicious go-to recipes for you guys. We've got a nice little group of ladies. We're all going to have different recipes on our channel, so be sure to check everyone out. I'll have everyone linked down below, and you guys can go and see what they made. Today I have for you guys a delicious two for one. I have 2 dips, a dip and a salsa. The cheese dip is a spicy corn cheese dip, and I calculated it to, I believe, about 2 smart points per serving, but if you can find fat-free cheese, it will be even less. Both of these recipes are also simply filling, so you can feel free to use those however you like if you're doing simply filling. The salsa recipe is 0 smart points for a serving, which is a couple of tablespoons because it does have corn in it. So if you eat more than that, I think you should calculate it in your app and then make sure you have the adequate serving size for whatever you're serving so that your points can be correct. Both of these recipes were a huge hit at the party yesterday. I am now completely obsessed with mango salsa. I never knew what a mango tasted like. I'd never had one before. They are delicious, and the salsa was delicious. If you can't find mangoes, I think that peaches, they're still pretty... that aren't too overripe would be good in place if you can't find mangoes where you are. I plan to try that sometime soon. So yeah, so stay tuned for these recipes. I hope you guys enjoy them, and I hope you had an amazing weekend. Alright, so you're going to need some sweet bell peppers. I just used mini ones because it's what we had in the garden, but regular will do. You're going to need half of a red onion, some pepper, salt, garlic, minced, you can use fresh as well, some sriracha. I got 2% sharp cheddar or fat-free cheddar, and then 2 blocks of fat-free cream cheese, 2, and 2 cans of sweet corn, drained, and a crock pot. Alright, so I'm going to cut up all of these peppers. Just try and cut them up kind of fine. I like them small for a dip, so that way they distribute evenly and you don't get a mouthful of peppers. Mine were really seedy, so I did take the seeds out, but the ones you get from the store are usually not this seedy. I tried to start off with this small crock pot, but I quickly realized all of my things are not going to fit in there, so it changes in just a second. But just slice them as small as you can, or if you like them bigger, do them bigger. Ta-da! New crock pot. Alright, so now we're going to do our red onion the same way. I did a little less than half because this was a huge onion, so I just kind of cut the tops off, took off the skin that's not so pretty. Doopity-doopity-doo. And then you just cut it in half, and then I just sliced it as small as I could, again, just so you don't get big mouthfuls of peppers and onions. Just take off any damaged ones. So it's a little bit less than half, but that's just because my onion was so huge. So about a half a cup. All right, so then we're gonna put 2 big heaping tablespoons of garlic in there. I love garlic, so you can never get enough in there for me. So I did a little bit more probably. Salt to taste. I always start off with a little bit and then add more later. Same with pepper, because it's gonna marinate in those seasonings. So I taste it before I add more things. Then you have your 2 cans of drained corn and your 2 blocks of fat-free cream cheese, which are super hard to open. And I like to put them on top of some of the toppings, so that way as it starts to melt, it doesn't burn on the bottom. So it's just sort of a bumper. Then I just squirt a generous amount of sriracha in there. I ended up adding extra later, but just start out with a little bit and then you can always add more. Then I just dumped in my bag of shredded cheese. And I just pressed it down a little bit so that I can get it in the lid. And then I set it to high so that it could melt and become stirrable faster. Ooh, magic. All right, so here it is about an hour later. I'm just gonna scrape down the sides, give it a nice stir. The cream cheese is starting to melt. This will just sort of incorporate all the ingredients together. See, it's already starting to get, pretty melty. And I just make sure you scrape down the sides because it will burn. And at this point, I turn the crock pot down to low because it's already pretty melted, so it just needs to finish up. So you don't need it on high. And then I just put the lid back on and let it sit for another hour or so. Ta-da! At this point, I taste it and I redo seasonings if I needed to. I did add more Sriracha in at this point. Husband said it needed to be a little bit more spicy. So yeah, just scrape down the sides and then you're ready for dipping delights. All right, so now we're gonna make some salsa. You're gonna need some minced garlic, some lime juice, some chili powder. You're gonna need, I used one seeded, what are those called? Spicy things, jalapeños. You're gonna need half a red onion, mangoes, more peppers, cherry tomatoes, half a can of sweet corn, pineapple, cilantro, salt, and pepper. All right, so this is like an hour and a half of chopping. This is no joke. So I chopped them up as tiny as I could. I did about a half a cup of red onion. I just used my leftover onion from the other recipe and then just add a little bit more in there. Again, make it really small so that it's salsa size. You could do this in a food processor, but I feel like it gets too liquidy when I do that. So I did all this by hand, but do you. And we're gonna do the same thing with the sweet peppers. Just gonna chop them up into little tiny bits. This took forever. I was chopping for what seemed like an eternity, so I definitely got my arm workout in for the day, but yeah, little bite sizes, boop boop. And now we're gonna do mango. I'd never had a mango, I'd never cut a mango, so 411, they have an invisible seed in the middle. They're really hard to chop, so I couldn't figure out how to chop it, and then I couldn't get the skin off. So I ended up chopping it into fourths, like little chunks, and then sliding it down a glass to get the meat out. Which you'll see in a minute, but this was an interesting experiment. I didn't know that this is what mangoes did. So here I am squeezing it down the cup, and it just helps you get, you know, the skin off, and you can get down to the good stuff. I'm sure there are better ways to cut mangoes. I just have never, this is my first experience with mangoes, so I'm definitely gonna look up some YouTube tutorials on how to adequately slice your mango. Felt like a fruit explorer, and that's me like, what am I doing? Okay, so then again, really small, little tiny pieces. Mangoes are actually really delicious. I'd never had one before. Super good. I tasted it right there. And yummy, sweet, a little bit gooey, kind of like a peach. Just keep slicing. I did 2 mangoes, so I would say about a half a cup to a cup of mango chunks. Now I left this part in the video because this is just where I kind of figured out how to do it a little bit better. But again, I just sliced it into little fourths around that stinking weirdo invisible seed. So just sliced it like that, got rid of the middle, and then slide it down the cup. And then it just pops right in. I was trying to show you, there you go. I was trying to get it close to the camera. So not the easiest thing, but definitely worth it. But it just gets all the goo off. Mango. And we're gonna do the pineapple. So I only used maybe a quarter of my giant pineapple. So I just slice it again into little tiny bits. Just a lot of slicing, just so much slicing, guys. This is, I mean, salsa, just call it slicer. So I just cut it into little tiny bitty bits. This is just a video of me cutting for 14 hours. The most titillating footage ever captured. But everyone at the party loved this salsa. It was so delicious. It's sweet. If you leave the seeds in your jalapeno, it'll be spicy. I left mine out because I like a little bit of spice, but not like burn your mouth off. So here's everything else sliced up to save you time, but it's just the tomatoes cut up. I did about a cup, and then I got a big bunch of cilantro, and then my jalapenos there at the end without the seeds in, and then I just plop them all in a bowl. And then here's a half a can of corn and a little bit of lime juice. I didn't measure this. I'd say about a tablespoon of lime juice, and then I'd say about a tablespoon of chili powder, and then just a little zoop of salt and a zoop of pepper. I'll have all of the detailed directions down below for you guys so that you can check them out in written form instead of me just yakking away. And then you're gonna stir it, and then the longer it sits, the more the flavors all incorporate, and it's just so delicious. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy these recipes and give them a try, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!